body one day. When you look at him now, what has his development been like, and what do you see from a player like that?
He definitely has an NFL body. I mean, he's just in the time that I've been here, and when I got here, he was pretty developed also. But his commitment to the weight room and to what Coach Hilgart's doing with those guys down there right now. This spring he got up to probably right at 330. Now he's back down to the 315 range. But I mean, ability-wise and athleticism, I mean, and he takes pride in it. And all those guys in that room, offensive line room, they've had a tremendous summer, and it sort of comes from the work ethic of Nijman and then Pfaff and Chung. They've done a great job of leading those guys.
He's a guy that's played on both sides in his career. If you want to talk about specifically, that's great. If not, just generally, what goes into when you're an offensive line coach deciding, hey, this guy's going to work better for me on the left, or this guy's going to work better on the right?
Well, obviously he's got the stature for it, being the on the edge guy, and I try not to stereotype a guy. He's got to play this or pigeonhole a guy. Ultimately I want to get the best 5 guys out there, and then some guys are capable. Kyle Chung can play 5 positions up there right now, and that's value to me. That adds me depth, But, Yash moving over to right's helped us bring some guys along over on the other side, and just still trying to develop those guys and find the chemistry and find the right 5 guys right now. But he's done very well, especially this fall over there on the right side.
So is it as simple as when you see it, like he's there and you like it?
Right. Yeah, pretty simple like that. And what I get where he was, maybe, I always tell those guys, don't always just be worried about the guy behind you. Sometimes you can get side blinded. You better just check out that road next to you, because they can move over too, kind of like Chung did last year from center to right tackle. But I'm glad he's back at center.
I wanted to ask about one of those guys on the left side. Silas Dancy seemed to make a big leap in the spring. Has he picked up where he left off, and where do you want to see him show improvement this August?
He's way ahead of where we left off. I think he's had a tremendous summer. I think just with the maturity and just the understanding of what we're doing, he has a much better feel for it. Obviously, he has the confidence. He had a great spring, and that developed a lot of confidence in him. And I'm excited to see him, further develop there. Now, I mean, he should be the first one to tell you there's people behind him and beside him too that he's got to fight off. And that's where we are. I feel great about this group because it's daily competition, and I like for guys to settle in, but if they have a bad day, we'll play musical chairs in a heartbeat. So.
I remember in the spring after that one open practice that you guys let media see, and I think students were coming down the field or something. You had just a brief moment with Kyle where you said something about, are you going to be in there and you're going to watch film or something like that, and he kind of looked at you and rolled his eyes or something like that. The dude's a 6-year guy. He's got a little bit more seniority than most cats around here, clearly, and like you said, he knows all 5 positions. Do you have a little bit different relationship with him just because he's been through this a little bit, and maybe he gets a little more leeway with you?
Yeah, he's been here twice as long as I have. So, no, Kyle's done a great job of maturing, if you will, and not just maturing personally, but as a football player with his work ethic, and he has done an unbelievable job. I mean, he led this entire group all summer with their players practices and stuff. He's the one that ran it, and it is a different relationship, but because I trust him, and that's what these guys are. I'm trying to trust all of them, but he's one that will sort of hold the other guys' feet to the fire a little bit. I mean, he's became more vocal because he's had some success, and usually those guys, when they get down towards the end of it gets real important to them. They finally realize it.
How does having a guy like Kyle kind of help those younger guys, especially in terms of leadership aspects, and him showing them kind of the way to come along?
It's so valuable to me having him here because, with some young guys and some guys that just got on campus here in July, we can do. We'll be working on stuff, and I can tell Kyle, hey, go get his steps right. He takes that ownership of the position. Obviously, he learned from a great one in Eric Gallo. I mean, Gallo was probably the best coach on the field I've ever been around. And Kyle certainly got that capability and is getting that done right now.
talk about some of your younger guys like Lasita Smith and Christian Darisaw?
Super excited about those guys. I mean, there is definitely an opportunity for them right now, as soon as September 3rd. But they've got to continue to get better every day, and they are pushing some people right now. And those guys in front of them are well aware who they are. I know that. But they, have had them on the left. They're working together right now, but they've got everything it takes to be successful. At Virginia Tech. I'm excited as I can be. The only thing they lack is experience. That's it.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you.
Dalton Keene up next. Thank you, Coach.
Dalton, I'm sure H-back is like a lot of positions you got to study. You have to know it in and out. It's a little bit more difficult to sort of process things as things get added on. It sounds like obviously coaches want to try to throw as much as possible at you guys, especially the younger guys. I know that, but I got to think in your position, there's constantly things being added on to your responsibilities.
Yeah, I mean, week to week, there's things changing just depending on the game plan. But now that I'm going into my second year, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable. So I'm kind of in a position where I can help the younger guys out a little bit more, which is what the older guys did for me when I got in here. So I definitely feel a lot more comfortable with it now when things are changing week to week.
You're still a very young player, but obviously you've got a lot more experience right now than you did a year ago this time. Can you kind of compare yourself as a player now as opposed to this time last year, and maybe how much easier it is to go into a fall camp having that much experience?
Yeah, well, like I said in the last question, I feel a lot more comfortable. It's a lot less stress, knowing the playbook, knowing all that stuff. We had a great off season, so I feel great right now. I feel much more athletic. Coach Hilgart and his crew got me feeling really good for this upcoming season.
I was going to ask about Coach Hilgart. You were one of those guys that posted the pictures before and after your first year, and there were pretty big gains in that. How tough is it to make big gains again in the second year? Do they cater the workouts differently, or what exactly do you have to do to approach it?
Yeah, it's definitely tough, but we kind of embrace that. There were countless examples like that. I wasn't the only one. You could take just about any guy on the team, and they'll have a pretty awesome transformation like that. So we just went in every day and kind of embraced the work that they gave us. Went in every day, tried to get bigger, faster, stronger, and that's exactly what we did.
As a teammate, how aware were you of what Caleb Farley was going through with his mom being ill and then passing? And what does like a locker room do to kind of lift a guy up when they're going through something like that?
Yeah, well, first of all, Caleb handled that so well. Like he was super tough about it. But the locker room culture in there kind of gathered around him and really took care of him when he needed it most. So I really feel good about our team, and how they took care of that situation with him.
We've been told a lot about what you and Chris and Drake do is different, obviously, but you guys can work together, with a couple of guys on the field at the same time if possible. And I'm sure you can't just throw one of you three guys out there and say, this is the guy that does this is the guy that does this is the guy that does this. You have to cross-pollinate a little bit and do some of those things, if not just to keep your level of interest up. How difficult is it for you guys to sort of learn each other's trades a little bit and what each other does and sort of work together with what you do? I mean, is it a challenge or not?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge, but we all kind of help each other out, we're all better at our own specific things, but like Drake, he's a great route runner, he's got great hands, so he's been helping me and Chris out with that. So we all got to be able to do everything. We're kind of like the plug and play guys. We need to be able to handle a lot of situations, but we definitely do try to help each other out when it comes to that.
I know the expectations have sort of increased for what this offense wants to do as far as being dynamic and being more explosive. How do you see your role in that and kind of aiding in that situation this season?
I definitely hope my role expands a little bit. I mean, I 10 catches last year, I think. So I'm hoping to get a few more of those. But I love being the guy that kind of does the dirty work with like kick out blocks and ISO blocks, stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to this next season and seeing what they have in store for us. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Caleb, it seems like it's been a long time since you've been here. First time talking to you. How eager are you to get out there, especially with what you had last year with the knee and having to sit out and watch?
I'm very eager. I feel like I haven't played football in a long time, so this camp has been fun for me. I'm actually looking forward to the scrimmage today. Get to go around and play some football.
The position moving around that you've done, did the time at wide receiver help you at all at corner, or is that just something that we think happens and it really doesn't make a difference?
It definitely helped me learning how the receiver is trying to attack you in certain areas and aspects of the game. It definitely helped me when I transferred over to the corner. So I'm glad I got to play a little receiver.
How has the work at corner gone, and what about you physically makes you suited to be a corner?
Coach Mitchell is getting us prepared to play the first game. We work hard, and I'm just excited to get out there and play.
What was that recovery process like last year with the injury and everything, and coming back from that this year? How healthy are you feeling now and everything?
I feel great. I feel great right now. I feel full speed. My trainers did a great job. They took care of me. They really cared for me, and it was just a humbling process. I enjoy watching my teammates have a good season last year, and I'm excited to help them win this year.
Anything else for Caleb?
You working at kick returns right now?
Yes.
Is that something you've done in the past, and how comfortable are you doing something like that?
I like to say that's why I'm up here. I love having the ball in my hands, so I'm very comfortable with the ball in my hands.
All right. Thanks, Caleb. We got Vinny Mahota up next.
Made Fredericksburg look like a vacation spot on that video.
all right,
man. It was
man.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
What's the name of the ice cream joint you went
Carl's.
to? Yeah, I got to go.
You got to, man.
Now that I assume you've moved back inside full time now. Is it sort of a recall type thing for you? Is it sort of automatic when you switch back inside, or is it take some time for you? I mean, I know you missed pretty much all the spring, so you didn't get that benefit. But does it come right back?
Yeah, it comes right back. I mean, throughout the years, I've been playing it in spurts here and there, just because it's always in the back of Coach Wild's mind, and to have me ready to play D tackle if I ever need be. So it's been a quick adjustment process.
And what kind of confidence do you have moving inside now next to a guy like Ricky Walker?
I mean, Ricky definitely helps me out a lot. I mean, as much as I've been around the defense and know the end position, he really knows tackle, and I ask him questions pretty much daily about it. So, just having him next to me really helps me and gives me a great confidence boost.
You've got two ultra experienced guys, like he just said, with yourself and Ricky playing inside. But I know a big point of emphasis, sort of in the spring and I guess this month too, is finding guys that can play behind you. Given the fact that you guys have seen a lot, played a lot, have a lot of experience there, have you sort of helped with a little bit of the evaluation? Do you feel like? I mean, does Coach Wiles come up to you and say, "What do you think? When you're not taking reps, what do you think about this dude? What do you think about that dude?" Or Coach Foster, anybody?
Not necessarily my opinion, but he definitely asked me how I can help him improve, and what like I could help him on, and things I can do every day to just help correct him on things that he doesn't exactly see every time.
Of the inexperienced guys, who's impressed you the most so far just this month?
They've all done really well. I mean, Xavier Burke and Jared Hewitt have really done fantastic jobs inside, as long on the outside with all the young defensive ends we have.
Was it a tough balancing act trying to add weight for defensive tackle while also rehabbing a torn ACL? Can you talk about that process a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely different because it just adds another obstacle to the challenge of getting back to full speed with a torn ACL, and not only that, but having to add 40 pounds from 260 to 300 pounds is definitely both trying to be able to be strong enough, just the leg itself and the ACLs was different, and then getting back into shape after gaining 40 pounds and not running for 6 months was definitely a challenge, but overcomable.
Yeah, expand on that a little bit. What Chris was talking about, kind of, that sounds like a push and pull type thing, man. Like you're kind of going one direction with one and the other with the other. It's like, how do you kind of work through? What's like a workout regimen for you when and clearly it's two different things, but when you're kind of transitioning from hurt knee to being healthy again, do you instantly try to ramp up? Try to get to 300, or what do you do?
Well, it was just a slow process. I'd try to eat really clean and put on good weight and not necessarily just throw a bunch of weight on. So every week I'd gain a pound or two here and there, and it just adds up. And I took a bod pod the other day, and I'm just as lean as I was at DN. So I put on, 40 pounds of good lean muscle. So yeah.
Is that the goal? 1 or 2 pounds a week?
Yeah, I mean, anything more, and you're not putting on good weight. I can gain a bunch of weight and just it'd be sloppy weight, but.
Anybody else for Vinny? All right, thanks, Vinny.
See you guys.
We remember when you first got to Blacksburg and interviewing you and people talking about you being raw and having to, get bigger and stronger, and now it's like an NFL body. How different do you feel right now than when we first met you?
Well, I put on like 60, 70 pounds almost. Well, yeah, I feel more developed than I did before.
How does that show up? Like when you're out there and you're taking on a defensive end, or is it just you feel stronger? Is it an all around? How would you describe how you feel now taking on college players?
Yeah, I mean, I feel much stronger, faster, lateral quickness got better, so a lot of like the stuff I needed to work on when I was a freshman, is developed now.
I was asking Coach Weiss about you playing on both sides, and he kind of indicated like it's you know it when you see it, like he likes you at one spot, then he likes you at another. Do you know why you would be on one spot or the other? Are there things you do better on one side or the other?
Well, I mean, I'm starting to get accustomed to right tackle now, playing left tackle for the last 3 years, so it's kind of a challenge every day for me to get better at it. So that's what I'm working at now. I mean, it feels much different because I got to flip everything, but it's nothing I can't do.
Was Silas Danzy, is he kind of the same player now that you were when you were a freshman, and what kind of advice can you give to him as a guy who's going to play a lot as a freshman just like you did?
I think Silas is better than I was when I was a freshman, honestly. He redshirted, so it's a year of him getting better and getting stronger and stuff. I think he's going to be really good. I think pretty much all of our offensive linemen are going to be really good. I think the young guys are hungry to learn the offense and to go out there and play on Saturdays. So him compared to me, I think me as a freshman, true freshman, getting in there, it was like I was kind of seeing everything for the first time, but he kind of had like a redshirt year under his belt, so he should be ready to go for the season.
And how do you kind of help out those younger guys out in the field and stuff like that when you're a senior now and you've kind of gone through the fire?
I think usually if I'm out and say the second team or third team goes, I usually pull them aside and talk about the play that just happened or things they need to work on, some tendencies, some technique things. So.
Anybody else for Yash?
As you look at the group that you guys are bringing back, how good do you feel about this offensive line? I know guys don't like to compare, but in terms of experience and what you guys can do, where does this group kind of rank with the units you've played on here?
I feel this year we have a lot of younger guys. Well, I wouldn't call them young anymore. I mean, they're developing now. So, I mean, we're just a bunch of hungry guys. I mean, every year since I was a freshman to now being a senior, all the offensive line's been hungry to play hard and do the best we can for the team and for the offense. I would say this year, we have younger guys though. We have three seniors on the offensive line, or three seniors on the offensive line that can help pave the way for the future Hokies. So coming up.
Anyone else for Yash? All right. Thank you, Yash.
You're welcome.
with the experience you guys bring back, and at this point in camp, how do you feel about this group compared to this point in camp other years?
I think every time you get a new group out there, no matter how much experience you have, you got to get a certain amount of time like working together and playing together. So I feel similar to how we have in the past, just trying to get that consistency with working with new people.
It's a unique group in that you've got a lot of guys who've played multiple positions.
Yeah.
What does that lend to you guys in a game in terms of communication, knowing how each other plays, not even moving if there's an injury, but just in game, kind of knowing the other spots?
It's helped a lot. Anytime there's a good offensive line, typically the guys, everyone knows what each other's doing and what each other's thinking. So that's a huge benefit for us.
What can you kind of say about how Coach Weiss has helped you develop from your time when he's come in and now in your senior season?
Coach Weiss has done an awesome job. He's always just coached us up on knowing exactly what to do and playing as hard and as tough as we can. So he's helped me out a ton since he's been here.
We always ask Chung about how he's been here 6 years. You signed in that same class as he did, and just deferred the enrollment. Is it strange having been in one place for so long? Or how's that helped you kind of go through that much time here and kind of the ups and downs of the offensive line here?
I think I've kind of developed a lot of sweat equity in what I've been doing, and same with Chung, just being here for so long and putting in so many years of work. I think it's just been a huge benefit for us, and yeah, I think it's been a good thing. But yeah, it has been a long time for both of us. So.
Could you tell us about some of the young linemen in the program, like Lacita Smith, Christian Darrisaw, Silas Dancy?
The young guys in the O-line room right now, I think we have some of the best talent we've had since I've been there, with guys like Lacitus, Darrisaw, and even the guys that just came in. They're showing how hungry they are and how willing they are to learn. Guys like John Harris, Danuta, and Walker. It's a really good group, and I'm really excited for what they're going to bring to the future of the program.
How long does it take before, and obviously you've got a lot of experience with this, what a line's going to be good at? Like, can you tell early on, like, hey, this is a group that's really good with the run block, needs to work on pass block? When do you?
Usually it does take a little bit. Obviously it's hard to tell within the first week of camp. But even when we do have our strengths and weaknesses, there's always time to improve on those, throughout camp and throughout the season. So,
Did you guys exit spring feeling better about one area than the other? Like, were you like, oh, we really did a good job with pass block, but we've got to get better run block, vice versa, coming into the fall?
Well, we didn't really think about it like that. We mostly just thought about how, we could improve each area, so.
Anybody else for Braxton?
As a teammate with what Caleb Farley went through, losing his mom, and to be in the locker room, how does a locker room or a team kind of help a guy through a situation like that?
Well, we're all brothers, so anytime someone's going through tough situations, we just let them know that we're there for them and we're praying for them, and whatever they need, we're there for them. Stuff like that happens all the time, unfortunately, last year with Savoy. And, we just got to be there for each other and get each other through those hard times.
How do you know? Does Coach tell you, hey, Caleb's going through, here's what happened, or do you just hear it word of mouth through the locker room?
You just kind of hear it. Sometimes Coach will talk about it with us, sometimes he won't.
All right. Thanks, Braxton.
Hokies!